Hey, welcome back to Cheating Wife, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to the channel for cheating stories like this.
You might not believe it now, but you will be okay. In 2020, I released my first essay on this site, which was followed by a few updates in 2021. Due to the fact that my story is not the focus of this essay, I will not provide links to those boards. If you're interested in reading the remainder of my narrative, feel free to go over my previous posts. My presence on this site and the subreddit r/depression has been sporadic for some time. Most of the time, I'm lurking in the shadows, reading about other people's issues and solutions. Aside from that, I'm happy for having been able to read all of the words of encouragement that have been posted on these subreddits. It has shown to be really useful to me. Anyway, I was 13 years old when I first walked through the door of my family's house after school. With a stone-faced expression on his face and my mother crying in her chair, my stomach turned when I heard the most horrible, gut-wrenching sound I ever heard in my life. Her brother had just committed suicide as a result of his wife's extramarital affair. That day will be etched in my memory for the rest of my life. Grief had sliced me like a dagger from my mother's side. I had no intention of causing such distress to my family. As a result, even when my depression grew severe, I never contemplated ending my life. Nevertheless, the call of emptiness has been more frequent since my wife's infidelity was discovered. I could just shift my wheels slightly towards oncoming traffic and all of this suffering would go away. I could drive down this slope into the lake. It would be years before anybody spotted me. Alternatively, when a police stepped in front of me in line at the store and said, "Take his weapon," I responded. These recurring thoughts terrified the living daylights out of me. I understand that they are natural, yet I used to consume them on a regular basis. As a result, I started doing things to keep my mind busy. I picked up my camera and started shooting again. I went out fishing once again. My gaming session was resumed. Every Sunday, I made it a point to sit down with my father and watch football. I made a conscious decision to emerge from my pain cocoon and make a concerted attempt to meet friends at least once every week. I stopped letting the events of the past to dictate my current and future actions. My wife was having an extramarital affair. We are no longer legally married in the eyes of the law. That way of life is no longer available, and it will never be available again. This does not, however, mean that my life has come to an end as a result of this. Beginning the journey back to health and wellness may feel difficult when you're just started on the road to recovery. At some point in everyone's life, they experience a phase in which it seems like the world has come to an end. Totally. Because your chosen life partner has deceived you. You have nothing to look forward to or strive for in your newfound freedom. The phrase "time cures all wounds" will be repeated to you by friends and family members. In their statements, they are only partially correct. For this method to be successful, you will require time and effort. As someone who has gone through the procedure, I can assure you that it will not be completed overnight. There is no such thing as a magic button that can be pressed to perform a miracle. Although it may seem insignificant if you start doing the little things, such as eating and sleeping well, getting out of your own head and spending time with friends and family, or even alone outside, rekindling old interests and discovering new ones, you will quickly realize that you haven't had a negative thought in a week or more. Compared to this time last year, I'm in a far better situation, which is good. Is it accurate to state that I am 100% certain in my abilities? As we all know, this is not the case. After this event, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to look at love or relationships in the same way again after having gone through it. To paraphrase Pearl Jam, a dreadful love turned my world black, inked everything I saw, everything I am, everything I will be was a love that turned my world black, inked everything I saw. Despite this, I have a newfound feeling of hope for the future and for the rest of my life. My suggestions may be a benefit if you are still experiencing discomfort. I hope it is, and that you are able to find relief as soon as possible. While you were grieving over your spouse's infidelity, your life did not come to a complete stop. That's true, and I realize that you don't believe that right now. I certainly didn't, but it's still true. Update. It was just yesterday that I wrote a piece on how you will be okay. After a day has gone, I find myself in desperate need of direction. As a result, it just serves to demonstrate that mending is an endless process. The following is a succinct explanation of my problem. The whole story may be read in my previous post history. I received COVID in August 2020 and withdrew from society for 7 weeks. Long story short, stairwell. Because she needed to continue working, my wife stayed with relatives during this time period. When she found out that I had tested negative, she said that she would not be going home and that she wanted to be divorced. I later learned that she was having an affair with one of our employees, which I found quite disturbing. Someone who I've known for the last 12 years, to be precise. Previously, we had spent the preceding 8 years working at the same place of employment. My ex's AP left the company, where we both worked in early 2021, in order to preserve his marriage, and he finally ended his relationship with my ex as well. I've seen him at his new place of employment a couple of times since all of this occurred. I've given him a few sideways looks, but I've never said anything to him about any of it. Neither during nor after the procedure. My ex-AP wife's behavior would have made me more unhappy with her than with him if she had been a stranger. However, I've known him for the previous 12 years and consider him a friend. I've always considered him to be a good friend. We spoke about our families on a daily basis, and he was well aware of my feelings for my wife, despite the fact that he continued to her. No, I had no desire to confront him about any of this, especially given the fact that my life is developing in that chapter, in my perspective, has finally come to an end. However, today, a mutual friend phoned me and inquired as to whether or not I would be available to meet with my wife's AP. Please tell him that I wish. Telephone. We've been acquainted with one another for more than a decade. It would have taken me 2 seconds to call or contact me if he had started having relations with her. As I advised the friend, if the AP needs to speak with me to get over this and feel better, for closure, or for any other reason, he may come to my office and chat with me. Our friendship, however, has come to an end. I'm not going to be able to have a normal conversation with this individual. Did you happen to catch last night's game? Meanwhile, I couldn't stop thinking about how he had with the woman I loved at the time. I'm well aware that he's not fully to blame. However, he had a huge part in the destruction of what was, at the time, the best thing that had ever happened to me. My romantic connection. My outlook on love and relationships has been forever impacted as a result of this experience. I'm not sure what he expects me to do for him. Forgiveness. It's not going to happen, believe me. At least, not for him the best in life, but that I have nothing to say to him, was my immediate reply. His health isn't great right now, and I shouldn't tell you about it. He told me a few weeks back that he had seriously pondered taking his own life. He's not faring well, says the speaker. I told you, I said. They went on to say that in light of what happened, he feels horrible. He said that he had lost a significant amount of weight and that everyone had begun to take notice of him, but that he had let this to go to his head. I told him that, yes, he should feel horrible about himself. He was the one who really did IT. However, it goes without saying that I do not want him to commit suicide. According to a friend, my ex's AP is simply interested in having a conversation and finding out if the claims she made to him were true. Basically, you'll be comparing notes. As I previously said, is he hinting that she notified him that we had parted ways with one another? He's equipped with a telephone. We've been acquainted with one another for more than a decade. It would have taken me 2 seconds to call or contact me if he had started having relations with her. As I advised the friend, if the AP needs to speak with me to get over this and feel better, for closure, or for any other reason, he may come to my office and chat with me. Our friendship, however, has come to an end. I'm not going to be able to have a normal conversation with this individual. Did you happen to catch last night's game? Meanwhile, I couldn't stop thinking about how he had with the woman I loved at the time. I'm well aware that he's not fully to blame. However, he had a huge part in the destruction of what was, at the time, the best thing that had ever happened to me. My romantic connection. My outlook on love and relationships has been forever impacted as a result of this experience. I'm not sure what he expects me to do for him. Forgiveness. It's not going to happen, believe me. At least not for the time being. In the face of my wrath towards him, I have no idea how I'm going to reconcile that with my desire to help him. When someone is sad to the point of contemplating suicide, I need to find the words to encourage them to get treatment. I'm just not sure I'll be able to pull it off.